Hello Year 7, welcome to your unit of work for this summer. I'm Mrs. Bart and I'm looking forward to introducing you to the first lesson of this wonderful unit called Desert Island School. Our first lesson is called School Trip. Before we do anything else, you need to get yourselves organised. For this lesson, you need your workbook, your booklet, a writing pen, the knowledge organiser, which would be found on pages 2 and 3 of your workbook. And if you like, you could also use the dictionary and thesaurus. If you haven't got any of those things ready, press pause, get yourselves organised, and unpause when you're ready. Okay, it's do now time. If you open your workbook to activity 1, you'll see these do now questions. These are designed to get you thinking, and thinking in a way that will help you to do really well this lesson. Your first instruction is to write down 3 to 5 words that you associate with school trips. Your second instruction is to think and answer what would be your ideal school trip. Press pause while you do the do now and unpause when you're finished. Let me take you through the lesson objectives for this lesson. The first objective we have is to understand register. Register is a special term we use in English. By that, we don't mean the register that we take every day at the beginning of lesson. This register means something else. We also would like you to use the conventions to write a formal letter. And then lastly, what we'd like you to learn is to write informatively. I'm now going to pass on some knowledge to you. It may be new knowledge, so you need to focus very carefully on what I'm going to tell you. We're going to learn about register. Register often refers to the degree of formality of language. It is the type of language used for different settings. There are 2 types of register. Formal register is when you use words and phrases to sound official. You usually use it when you're not familiar with the person you are talking or writing to. If you look at the image on the left of the shirt and the tie, you'll see that that relates to formal register, an official way of writing. Informal register is when you use words and phrases every day with people you are familiar with, perhaps family and friends. And again, if you look to the image on your left, you will see a t-shirt, which relates to the idea of being more casual and in writing, more conversational in the words that you choose. We'd like you to go ahead now and try activity 1, where you've got 4 questions asking you about register and the 2 types of register. There's also a challenge if you'd like to push yourself, and that challenge is what register should a letter from school to parents and guardians be written in, formal or informal. Go ahead, do activity 1 when I press the pause button and unpause when you've finished. What did you underline for question 4? Did you get all 3? Yours sincerely, regards, and dear/2? If you did, well done. For the challenge, hopefully you got that a letter from the school would be in a formal register, as that would need to be official. Well done for those of you trying the challenge. Now for some recall and some thinking. Letter conventions. You learnt about letters in Key Stage 2, ready for your SATs. You learnt that they had to be set out in a particular kind of way. Those are the conventions of letter writing. A key concept here is the word convention. A convention is the way in which something is usually done. Today we're talking about letters, but stories have conventions too. Stories are usually done in a certain way. Turn to activity 2 in your booklet and answer this question. What are the conventions of a letter? Press pause when you're doing that and unpause when you're ready to move on. We're ready now for activity 3A. Something wonderful has happened. Your class has been selected to go on a school trip, but it's not just any trip. You'll be going on a cruise around the Caribbean. I'm going to leave that playing quietly in the background because I want you now to tackle activity 3A. What are the key pieces of information parents and guardians would need to know about this trip? Fill out the box for activity 3A. Press pause, or if you'd like to keep hearing the music, you can carry on writing and we'll move on when you're ready. What are the conventions of a letter? Well, if you have a look at the diagram, you'll see the answers. At the top, in the red lines, you'll see that you need to write your address. That's the person who's writing the letter will write the address. Underneath that, but usually justified to the right, is the date that you're writing the letter. Underneath that, you'll see a blue line, which is about the salutation. A salutation is a bit of a fancy way, really, of saying dear and then whoever you're addressing the letter to. The rest of it you can see are the paragraphs that will constitute your letter. And then the last line at the bottom, which is in purple, is the way that you close a letter. Now, let me mention something about the way that you close a letter, because this is an error that students often make, and sometimes even adults make, when they're writing a formal letter. The way that you close a letter is very much connected to the salutation. If in the salutation you have used somebody's precise name, Dear Mr. Smith, then you will close the letter with yours sincerely. But sometimes you do not know the name of the person you are writing to. Dear Director, Dear Editor, Dear Head Teacher. And therefore, if you haven't used the person's name, then you would sign it off in the closing with yours faithfully. Now go ahead and do activity 3B, which is to plan the letter. And then when you're happy with the plan, we'd like you to go ahead and write it in full and submit it to your teacher on Show My Homework. They are very much looking forward to reading your letters. Don't forget, formal writing for for an official letter, and all of the conventions of letter writing need to be part of your letter. Thank you for your focus, Year 7. See you next lesson.